everybody, and welcome to Nerdsplaining Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Da Silva. With me, as always, is my co-host, Jose Romero.
Greetings and salutations for all the nerds out there. They're back from Comic Con, back home, telling everybody how shitty Comic Con was. I'm just kidding. I'm sure it
How
was
dare
fine.
you,
I'm
sir?
just kidding.
How
It's fine.
dare you?
It was
For
very
once,
an uneventful Comic Con.
in a very long time, comic books were the center of San Diego Comic Con.
The nerve.
For once.
God.
In a very long time. First time, long time. In a very long time.
The nerve, I swear to God. But it's kind of rare, the Comic Con comes and goes and we don't mention anything. In terms of that, we're so used to the big studios there and all the announcements, and it's like it's kind of quiet. I'm not sure if I like that or not. But
I will say this: if you're a comic book fan, pay attention to Jonathan Hickman doing Ultimate Invasion and then another miniseries called Gods. Ultimate Invasion is setting up the new Ultimate Universe. If you know the Ultimate Universe, their big claim to fame, their claim to fame is they set the tone for the first Avengers movie with the Ultimates, and they also brought in Ultimate Miles Morales. That's all. So there would be no. Honestly, there would be no MCU tone like when they do it right, like a Winter Soldier or like the back end, the middle part of Avengers. That's all Ultimate Universe setup. That's all from that. So appreciate that this is a new thing that might be happening. Who knows what's gonna happen? So it's kind of exciting, and they're gonna recontextualize what magic is in a Marvel universe. So obviously, Feige said, "I don't like the way magic looks. Make it different here," and then we'll say we did it from the comic. So make that happen. So that's kind of cool.
That would be nice. An MCU could use a touch up, but maybe we'll get into that later on the show. It's just my God, it's a code red alert everywhere for some of these studios. So actually everywhere, because obviously they're talking about anything being canceled and not canceled, moved, delays with the strike going on. So who knows what the fuck is going on? We're gonna see any of these movies coming out. Whatever.
The CEO of Paramount Animation said, "I don't know if we're going to do original content anymore. We're just going to focus on IPs." I'm like, holy crap.
Let's see how long. I heard this whole thing might last till next year. Who knows? It's actually a cool, interesting story I want to touch on. But I want to first start because, listen, Comic-Con came and went, right? Uneventful. Because I think part of it because studios went there is because all the attention was focused on the theaters, at least for now. And what was a huge weekend. It was a monster. The fourth biggest weekend ever. Best weekend ever if you take away any Avengers and or Star Wars film, which says a lot. Like Infinity all opened at 200, 300 minutes. So the Barbenheimer, the big event, the hype that came, and the hype was justified. The hype was real.
Finally.
Right?
Finally.
I mean, this is one where people went to the theaters in droves to see. I haven't seen Barbie. I have no idea if it's good. I heard mixed things. Doesn't matter. Making money hand over fist, and even Oppenheimer. I'm a huge Nolan fan. Oppenheimer's great, and he's the only guy that can take a 3-hour talky film about some history, that no one cares about initially, right, and still banking $80 million at the open box office. Who else? What director could do? No one else can do that. No one has that clout.
Oppenheimer
No one has
did more with talking than some of the best action movies that we've gotten in the summer this year.
And historical drama, beat out John Wick and beat out Mission Impossible, Transformers, all this stuff. Nolan, dude, he's the only guy. I mean, it is what it is. You like him, don't like him. The guy's box office, he's money.
But on the flip of that, Barbie, 155 million.
Actually, it was 162 when it came
wow.
in. The actuals came in. Yeah, monster.
Wow.
Monster.
And
Go figure.
Actually good as well. It's not like a hype movie. Mm-hmm. It's actually a good movie.
I haven't seen it yet, but I heard good things.
The ending is both a funny joke to like a thing we all made fun of Barbie toys for, and sort of like women empowerment. I was like, holy crap, this is like funny and deep. This sucks. I wasn't expecting all this. This is a lot for me to process. I went there ready to hate. I walked out going, this is pretty freaking good, man. This is really, yeah. And by the way, but there is a very biased line. And as someone who saw both movies this weekend, very biased line, because if you wore pink and went to go see Barbie, you were awesome. High fives all around. But if you dressed up as a burn victim to go see Oppenheimer, suddenly you're the problem? I don't think so. I disagree. I'm a fan of both.
Cancel those mofos. It's funny. It's funny because I had a friend who. It's funny because AMC reported huge numbers. People did the double header, right? I mean, whoever did this marketing campaign just absolutely nailed it. Genius.
Brilliant.
Kudos, right? Taking two movies which an opposite end of the spectrum, right?
I don't
Different
know if it's
demographic.
a fan marketing, but the Oppenheimer merge was a stroke of
Genius,
brilliance.
genius. Paid, give the guy a raise, or who, her, whatever. And because I heard people, I had a friend told me he went to do the double header, right? They were promoting a double header, get tickets for both. That's a huge commitment. It's like 5 hours, but it's that people were, he's seen.
Some of us are alone, Jose.
That's fair.
Some of us
Listen,
are
hey,
alone.
listen, fair. It's all good. I heard people who went to see Oppenheimer. A friend of mine, people were showing up in pink, so they either were going to go see the doubleheader or had come for seeing the doubleheader. It worked, dude. The numbers don't lie. I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, Tom Cruise is his credit. He came out before and he was promoting both movies, despite the fact he was gonna, put, a little bit of shade on his because there's only so many tickets to go around. He came out and promoted, dude. Yeah, dude, home run, dude. Home run. This is big.
And
it's
by
huge.
the way,
Bigger than any Marvel movie. Jesus.
I also took my kids to finally see the new Mission Impossible, which I realized I kind of feel like I dropped the ball as a dad because I've raised them on comic book movies, science fiction movies, anime, and horror. That's it. I've not given them like a spot. So this was their first, to the point that my son was freaking out, like, Dad, I got so much anxiety. I'm like, it's suspense. This is called suspense. That's what you're experiencing right now. It's suspense.
It brought in the palette. I like that. I like it. Yeah, another good movie, by the way. So listen, good for him. But let's look at Nolan for a second, because listen, we're talking Nolan. I mean, $80 million. I thought maybe 40 for Oppenheimer. Like good, but 80. Wow, that's impressive. Only spending $100 on the film. On like we've seen. Talk about the expenditure. Some of these studios. Yeah. I mean, it's just you don't have to spend fucking $300 million to make money.
You don't
have to, right? So it's just a proof of that, right? No special effects at all for them. I mean, no CGI.
For the most part, there's little tweaks here and there.
Little tweaks in there, but for the most part, it was practical. The big explosion, it's practical.
I mean, he did so much just with the color tone of like the black and white and the full color scenes. I mean, that's a masterclass of like this changes everything, and it's just the smallest of things. We don't need a giant blue beam from the sky, guys. We don't.
There's other ways to make films. So I'm glad this movie did well because maybe hopefully leads to other things. But with Nolan, let's take Nolan because it's funny because I miss all the success and all that. And Barbenheimer, we got he came out on his interviews and he talked about James Bond. He's been known to be a big fan of the property. Who isn't for the most part? And he talked about him setting, wanting to do one, of course, with certain guidelines, of course, which he wants full control, wants to hire the Bond or whatever. If they can meet this criteria, he'll go ahead and move forward with it. He wants his story, all that, all his own, which is interesting because if I'm Universal or whoever, Universal who now works with him, he left Warner Bros. Went to Universal. They actually distribute the Bond films along with MGM and Amazon and all that. So there's some tie in there, right? Connection. If I'm anybody, executives, the Broccoli's, who are the producers of the films, bring him on board, dude. Bring him on board. I mean, just no hesitation. Give him whatever he wants, because he's proven time and time again, dude.
You take the intensity and the emotion of like an Oppenheimer. You reflect back on like the interrogation scene in The Dark Knight, and you let Nolan create a villain for Bond that they have to like literally yell at each other, but like have it built to that argument, and then you have the crazy action he pulled off in Inception. How is this guy not directed a movie yet for Bond?
I found them, and I know the concerns would be, well, he chooses the Bond, we don't, and he might just do one. Who gives a shit? Who cares,
dude? It could be a blind woman Bond with one leg and she has a lisp. Like, yeah, it's gonna. If that's what he wants, it's gonna be the best Bond we've ever seen.
Let him do it. Listen, Bond's a big property. I'm not saying it needs Nolan, but I think it needs a fresh take, right? It needs. I think I love Daniel Craig, but towards the end it was already okay, and it was very inconsistent. Let him give his crack at it. Give him one film. That's all you do. If it was Bond for one movie, that's fine. It's about making money, right? Yeah. And bringing the prestige back to it. Like I said, Mission Impossible has out Bond. It has by far. It has. And I like Bond, but man, him doing it, you're right. A little bit of Inception, Miss Dark Knight. Come on, man. Come on,
dude.
It's a no-brainer.
That's what I'm saying, man.
No-brainer. He's gotten better with his action. right? Because even in
Yes,
Batman, he was a little off,
absolutely.
but he's definitely improved dramatically over the last few years. Oh my God, I would love to see that. I would
Right?
love to see that. I
That's what
mean,
I'm saying, man.
oh my God, dude, bring it on! It's a win-win. They're gonna make money. If you can make money with
Like,
Oppenheimer, you make money with anything.
imagine because Nolan's great with practical effects, right? Imagine
Exactly.
what he would do with the car chase scene.
Come on, man. Of course,
With the car
and a reasonable budget, right?
in a reasonable, like, whatever it costs to make Skyfall.
Yeah.
Just give him that amount, and he's gonna give you a movie twice as good as Skyfall. Skyfall's amazing.
Oh no, exactly. So I think that's, hi man, I would love to see that. If what happens on, I don't know, but I found the studio. I am begging. I'm like, whatever you want, dude. All right, hire him, write it. I don't give a shit. It doesn't matter. He's not gonna let you down. He's gonna bring success to it, whether it's one movie or three. I doubt he does any more than one, but that's fine. Just do the one. Do a one-off. It's Bond, making money, keep it in the,
Yeah,
in the zeitgeist of popular culture.
the beauty of Bond is that because we had so many of them, it doesn't matter if it's not consistent. We're gonna know, it's Bond, man. It's the next guy. So
same as the cool gadgets he could have. I'm like, come on, man. I just got you. I'm hoping that announcement is made at some point soon. That I would love to see that. But yeah, let's see. But let's go back to this strike thing, because I have a gripe. I have a huge gripe, and it's sad.
really,
it saddens me. Yeah,
guys, watch out. Jose has a huge gripe.
And it's against an individual who's beloved, right?
Ooh.
I love a good burger, love some good fries, but
Sure.
it's better when you add a little bit of that ketchup.
Oh,
And in a movie, you add a little bit of that ketchup, a little bit of that rock,
a rock
it
sauce.
elevates the meal, the film to a whole new level. So Dwayne Johnson, I love I love me some Dwayne Johnson.
Jose, listen. Obi-Wan, Dwayne Johnson, those are your jams. We get
it. So he came out. I know some people are going to be on his side. I'm going to tell you why this is such a really bad thing on his behalf. So apparently, listen, the majority of the actors, the 1%ers, like in life, make all the money, right? The Rocks, Tom Cruises, and whatever, right? Robert Downey Jr.'s, and the rest is like 90% of those that don't make anything, right? The actors, and that's fine. It's hard to feel fully sorry for him, because I say, listen, go get a real job like anyone else. But whatever, be that as it may. So apparently, The Rock, very generous, reported he donated. They didn't specify the number, but it said 7 figures. I heard millions to the SAG organization, whatever, to help out the actors. And I think he's reaching out to some of the other, big time actors to donate and all that. Sounds great.
Sure.
Sounds like very generous. But I say nay. This is a slap in the face of all the fans out there, because all he's doing is taking out that desperation from these actors who may cave and saying, "No, I don't cave anymore because I got money from The Rock," which means is a longer strike, more delays of what we want to see, these movies getting canceled, being pushed back because The Rock felt the need to give them money. Don't give them money, because then they get desperate, they cave, they sign a new contract, and give us the content that we love. You and I, we shouldn't care about the strike. It's got nothing to do with me. Give me my movies, give me my TVs, and The Rock is shoving that down the toilet.
Ladies and gentlemen,
shame
let us
on
just
The Rock.
say that the opinions expressed by Jose are not generally the views of Nerdsplaining and of fellow associates involved in this podcast.
If you want to see the Marvels coming up,
listen, I told you, I'm not that big of a fan of The Rock. That made me a fan. It made me want to. I'm like literally this close to rewatching Black Adam. Like, that's how much I'm like, you know what, sir? You get a stream out of me. Congratulations. Because that was cool. How dare you? These corporate fat cats sucking off the teeth of creativity. We do it for free because we're stupid, but these people, they're doing a thing. And these overlords of finance, just like, and you can't have anything. It reminds me of, you ever see that political cartoon where there's 3 dudes at a table and one is in a business suit and he's hoarding all these apples and there's one more apple at the table and he looks at one guy and goes, "That guy's trying to take your apple," but he's got all the apples. Yeah, fuck the studios. The only thing you're good for is benefiting off people who are too creative to be good with money. That's it. How dare you? As someone who's creative and broke, I'm offended.
Well, I'll have to ask you this, right? Don't you want to see these movies continue?
Sure.
Okay, that's all I asked.
But I'm willing
and this
to
is
wait.
only going to hinder that from happening.
That's okay.
As a fan, listen, like I told you, I get it. The actor don't get paid. Boo hoo hoo. Get in line with millions of other people who don't have the opportunity to do what they do. Oh, getting paid shit. Go get a real job. No one told you to go to writing or go into acting. You choose to do it.
Fooey,
Buyer, beware of what's going on, right or
the
wrong.
goal of being good at a
You know,
talent is that you can go, I'm so good at talent, I don't have to
sure,
lift the boxes anymore.
you
I get to
can
do
absolutely,
talent. So
but
you
don't,
should
but
get that
but
good. You
I
should
get
be
it.
allowed to
I get
focus
it.
on just that.
But I'll tell you this: if someone tells you don't touch that iron, it's hot. You touch it, you get burned. I'm not crying for you. You knew exactly for this has been a contract for years. How much these little actors get paid? It's not
But
news.
things changed.
It's not
Things
news.
changed. No one knew streaming. No one knew.
Sure, I get it, but go find a job. What would I tell you?
You're crazy.
There's a
You're
lot of
crazy.
people out there who got other jobs, and these poor people.
Listen,
I'm not one of them.
listen.
Unfortunately, I'm not one of them.
The
You are
good
too,
thing,
right?
the
I'm
good
just
thing
saying, but
about
let's be
waiting.
clear. And all these actors, The Rock that's joining, and
No,
I'm always doing
no,
it very tongue in cheek. But
wrong,
why don't all these
wrong.
actors who make $20 million say, "I'm gonna take 5, I'm gonna give 15 to the rest"? Of course not, because they're just as fucking greedy as all these other people.
Yeah, they
out there.
took 15
So I
and
don't
give
want to
5 to
hear
us.
it. So I
That's
don't
what
want to hear
charity
this like
is. They're
poor
not
actors.
saints.
And
They're
oh my
nice
God, I'm
people.
sure
The
Robert
problem
Downey
is
Jr.
they're
is crying
people.
that he only gets $20 million a film. Get out of here. Take 5 million and
Wrong.
take them all.
Nope,
This is
sorry,
what capitalism is all about. The foundation of our country. Those who have it, that's how it works. If you had a company, if someone told you I can pay you less, make more, not one person, not you, will ever say that. These actors will say, "Oh, I'm not doing that." Of course, it's business. I want to get
I'm
money.
sorry,
So if I can
but
pay you
if
less,
the only reason,
no,
if the only
see.
reason
You
that
say that?
you
No.
are in power is because you were happy to be lucky enough to have a little bit more money than the dude who has a
Listen,
great
I'm
idea,
just talking about
then no, you don't get to. You get the
very,
benefit
but it's the very
the
basics,
most, but
babe.
not
The very
on the
basics
cost of those who are producing.
The very basics of
Wrong.
business, man.
Absolutely
The basics
wrong.
of business. You're here to make money. That's the essence of capitalism. It is. I'm sorry. If you had a business,
and capitalism is supply and demand. If you don't supply us with our demands, you're not going to get the supply you need.
Okay,
we demand this, so you either supply us with it or you don't get your supply.
Listen, they can gripe all they want, and that's fine. But I'm saying you have options. No one's forcing you to do that.
And you know what? So does the
forcing
studio.
you.
The studio, they could just pay what their request is. They're not asking for 32%. They're asking for 3%.
Okay, and
that's
but you
totally
don't know,
reasonable.
but you don't know what that equates to for them. You don't know. I don't know that.
It doesn't. Listen, 3% out of 100 is still 97 to you.
I get it, but yeah. Look,
so that's what I'm saying.
No, but I'm saying you got to be open-minded, right? If you're a business owner,
I'm very open-minded.
If you're in the Eric business, I'll put it this way, your business will never last if you sit there and actually want to be fair. It doesn't exist. You're there to make money and cut costs. That's just the reality of business. That's
but
here's the thing. And if you're head of a studio, I'm saying, you know what? If I can get away with paying you less money, of course I'm gonna pay less money. And
sure,
and nobody should gripe about it. But nobody can complain about
that. Pay me my fair share. Don't be a dick about it. Like, all right, you got me. Here you go. Step up and move on. Because you're still going to be keeping 96%.
That's fine. They own this. Listen, you know what you could do? Make your own studio and do what you want to do. It's like this, the athletes, right? They complain they get paid out. Okay, go open your own sports team. Own your team and pay however you feel like it. Otherwise, you're working for the man like the rest of us. And you're at the mercy of what they're going to pay. You don't like it? Fair enough. You don't have to like it. Go somewhere else.
That's why there's unions. When a group of you say, we don't want to get screwed over, the needs of the many prevail over the needs of the few. It is literally capitalism at its core. So them
but to feel bad for them,
you can be greedy. You can be greedy, but when you're caught, you gotta fess up.
No, but do they get caught? That's a contract they signed, and I know things changed, and I get it. But no one can figure out this, and there's no one can say how to do this new streaming thing. Streaming don't make money of ads. It's not these residuals they're talking about. The residuals is based on viewership and advertising. That does not exist in streaming. So what they're asking for from the actors is completely unreasonable because they have no fucking clue what should it be, and neither the studios, to be fair. Nobody knows. So what they're asking for is nonsense.
Well, what they're saying is
they just want more money,
but there's no plan. You need to be transparent of your discoveries, and then we work it out. But if you're gonna say, well, we don't even know, then fuck you. You're a bad businessman. You don't even know.
It's not bad businessman. It's just a model. It's a different model.
No, that is bad. If you don't know what the answer is, that's bad business. I don't care what business you're in. If your answer is,
because their business, Eric, it's not viewership. That's not their business. They're in a subscribe business. They'll make 100 shows. If nobody watches but you subscribe, that's all they give a fuck about. That's all they care. So they can take one show and say quantify it. They can't. Nobody can. Nobody can. There's no businessman on the earth. Albert Einstein couldn't. Oppenheimer couldn't figure this shit out. It's impossible. What they do is look at their subscribers. So they make a bunch of shows, get you to pay monthly. Your monthly fee doesn't change because Stranger Things comes out. It doesn't. It's the same. It doesn't change. That's what I'm saying. So it's not like Stranger Things gave us a boost. They can't figure that out. And that's the issue. But the actors have no answer for it either. And that's the other problem. They just want money. So I see both sides. As from a business, why am I paying you when I Netflix or HBO don't measure it the same what you guys want us to measure it? This is a changed TV, and the actors have to take it up the ass because things have changed. Blame the people who watch streaming and don't watch regular cable. That's who you should be mad about. That's what I'm saying. So it's like I'm gonna pay residuals on what? I don't make money off these shows anymore. I don't. The studios don't do that anymore, and that's the fact, right? It is what it is. And it's changed and it sucks for everybody, but the studios don't make money. They don't. And they're all losing money, let's be honest. Ask Disney how that's going with their streaming service. I'm going to pay you residuals. Would I lose money? Yeah, I don't think so. How about we don't make the shows? No more streaming service. They don't lose money.
Remember,
they don't lose money and the actors don't get paid for the shows that normally would have been on Disney Plus. They lose.
Well, here's the thing. Residuals should only come from views. So the shows that aren't being watched, you don't get any residuals. It's not
views because it's tightly affected. Before it made sense, right? You can judge it by the advertising. The views were directly related to what they charge for advertising. It's a correlation. You had a show that watched by 10 million people, you charge more for advertising. And that's what it's based off. You have a show that gets seen by 2 people, advertising don't want to be in your show because only 2 people watch it. It's a direct tie-in. With this, you can't measure it, because there is no advertising revenue from it.
What's going to happen? What's going to happen is this: out of the 3%, maybe they'll get like 1.75 if they're lucky, and all the customers are going to pay an additional $5 on their streaming bills, and that's what's going to happen. That's going to be
why should we be happy about that?
Because I then get all the entertainment I want, and I don't have to talk to strangers.
But you have to pay more money.
Then I have to pay more money because I want these things.
But now we're subsidizing. Listen, like I said, I'm not paying you to go to work. You figure it out. Don't put it on me. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's like now you're saying it's gonna back. No. But eventually they're gonna cave. They will cave. They have to work.
But look at the idea of food. I want food, so I have to work hard to get money to get food. I don't ask the guy to bring his prices down. That's his price. So I got to pay that price because I want that food. Yeah, I can pay a little bit of money and get McDonald's, or I can pay a lot of money and get sushi. But I get to decide the food.
The difference is, the difference is nobody's striking,
I'll pay an extra $5 a month.
Nobody's striking for that. I'm not paying to put these guys back to work. That's not the point. Y'all figure it out. Don't put the cost on us. You're on the side of the actors. The actors is costing you money, and what they do, they make more money than you, and we help that cause. Fuck that. Are you crazy? Get back to work. Do something else. No one's telling you have to act. You don't have to. And most of them, you're making peanuts. You probably shouldn't be acting to begin with. Let's be honest, right? A lot of these actors are doing it for years. They don't make diddly. Guess what? Do something else, because this ain't working. It ain't for you. The top 2%, like any other business, they all make all the money, and that's just how the world keeps on spinning. And good for the DiCaprios of the world, right? Entertainers, you deserve it. Your money, your movies make money. That's the point. The Rock's movies make money. I'm saying they're great, but they make money for the most part. They deserve it. All those little guys, extras, I could give 3 fucks because they could be in the film. Not in the film. The film will never change because an extra got $10 or $12 on his paycheck. Who cares? Who cares about that guy? Let's be honest. Nobody. You don't even can't even name.
I do.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
I do care.
Nobody
and maybe it's
cares.
Because I've been part of it. I'm part of it. I'm involved in stuff. Maybe it's because of that. Maybe I'm biased, but
perhaps. But you got to be objective when you look at these things. That's what I'm saying.
I'm being objective because even as a stand-up, you do free shows and people don't appreciate what you. But even the free shows aren't really free because you may get some money because you are drawing people to the club to earn business. So your draw is bringing money.
You're getting exposure.
Well, fuck exposure. I want money. And so
but exposure leads to money.
Yes and no.
Could.
It depends.
Right.
But here's the thing about being a commodity.
Would you
When
rather make mediocre money and no one know who you are, make no money, everyone knows who you are, and because of that now you become big and make all the money? That's like
that
acting, right? You take all these small roles because they eventually lead to bigger
sure,
roles. We do a shitty movie because what the hell, you gotta eat, right? But you know, maybe someone sees you, I like this guy, I'm gonna put him on my movie, and that's how it happens. You get discovered, quote unquote. You take it up the ass, but don't complain. You're taking up the ass. That's the business and the life you chose. And that's the downside of it is that you're not going to get paid. You could be hungry. You get no insurance. Again, you're welcome to take 1 billion other jobs in the country. They're all open for you.
I
They're
disagree,
all
sir.
open for you. You know what I'm
I
saying?
disagree.
But no, like for me, if no one's forcing you, then that's my issue. Nobody's forcing you.
Well, you're right, but also no one's forcing you to want to see these movies. You choose to want to see these movies.
Of
So
course.
because of that choice, that means everyone else has choice, and the choice to not have to struggle financially because you're doing this full time as a career because these people want to see this kind of material, then they should get paid more. And if I have to contribute to make this work, I'm not going to be happy about it, but I understand it.
No, it's not understand. Again, not to understand. Again, you tell me, look, the actors are so righteous. We all know they're full of shit. They're so righteous.
Oh, of course.
Cut your salary in half and give it to the people, your folks. You can live off $10 for the rest of your life, just one check.
Sure.
Anybody says they can't, they don't know what they're dumb as fuck. They should be fucking killed, right? I swear to God. So I don't want to hear
CDs and savings accounts. Don't be idiots.
Yeah, they can make $10, 8 movies. Come on, take that money, distribute it amongst your peers. Everybody wins. So I don't want to hear this shit. Greed is everywhere. Greed comes from the actors who we're rooting for, and greed from the corporations. They're all fucking greedy, and the guys on the bottom get left out in the cold. But again, I'm sorry, it's unfair, not fair.
True.
Who cares? Go do something else. Those guys are still gonna get paid tons of money. The Rock is not gonna miss 3.5%. Neither is Tom Cruise. Neither is DiCaprio. They're not. Christian Bale, whatever. They're not gonna miss that 3%. And if you're making peanuts at 3%, it's still peanuts. You're fighting over nothing. That's peanuts. And all they're gonna do with residuals, they're just gonna pull the shows early. You're not gonna get paid. They're not gonna win this fight. I get it, and it is what it is. It's a fight they're not gonna win. It is what.
I disagree. I think the studio is going to cave because if the studios are fighting over money, they're losing money hand over foot.
They're losing money anyway. But the point is that executives all get paid while they lose money.
but no, they'll get let go. They'll flip it over, so they're not going to get paid. They'll get paid for short term, and then they'll get flipped, and then they're like, oh man.
You don't think these guys are making millions of dollars?
They've made millions.
And what do we say? What do we need to live off? So they can not work a day of their life and they're fine. They're fine. They don't care. They're fine. Warner Brothers goes down. I'm the CEO. Guess what? I'm retired. All right. You don't got to work? And that's supposed to be a bad thing? I mean, you see what I'm saying? You think David Zaslav is going to, oh no, poor guy. He's not going to, okay, he gets fired. Who cares? Kathleen Kennedy, who should be fired. Okay. She's going to get, the contract's going to get bought out. She's going to get paid. That's what I'm saying. It's like it makes no difference. Executives, all Kevin Feige, all make millions of dollars. Nobody cares. Nobody cares, dude. They don't care. They'll hold out as long as they can, and that's just how it works. They're gonna cave. The only thing I always say, only one aspect I agree with, is the whole likeness thing. That could be changed. I agree with that, right? But that's a very small part. It's a very small part. Because taking the likeness of these background actors, again, who gives a shit?
But that's the thing. A lot of actors start out doing background, so you're gonna like.
But I said, I get it. But I said that I get that. I can understand that, right? I get that. I get.
Okay, at least
that I get. But I mean, that's not a big thing. They're not fighting that for that much. The big thing is the residuals for the most part. That's the big ticket item. And the writers.
But also, even for the writers, like, don't use AI for scripts. Like,
well, first of all, they're not using AI because the AI it's not to that level.
there's already people doing comics with AI.
Yeah,
so
but they're not the same. Trust me.
I know, but I'm saying.
But and they can, but the quality, they're not. The studios.
These are beta versions right now. We can't let it get
maybe
to like
in 10 years.
3.0. That's the problem.
Maybe in 10 years, but I would say to the studios, and as a business owner, if I get the same quality, I don't think it is, but let's assume it gets to be the same quality. Why would I pay the writers? It's just business. It's like automation, right? I mean, people build cars. That was hand back then. Now it's all computers, machines, and weather workers. No one's crying over them. Nobody. Shit.
Yeah, we were. That's what the whole 80s and 90s were about. We're crying over them.
Are you crying about it now? Nope. Nobody cares. It's just.
Well, because we're bringing manufacturing back. So but it's guaranteed people jobs. So
but it's all still automated. It's not the same number of jobs it used to be because automation is part of business. It is what it is.
Right now, it is right.
It is. That's what I'm saying now currently. So now we're not thinking about, man, it sucked 20 years ago. Man, it's unfair. Dude, nobody cares. and 20 years of AI is that good and studios are using them, okay, writers, go do something else. What am I going to tell you? You're obsolete. It happens in all facets of business, right? A lot of jobs go obsolete. It is what it is. It sucks, but it's
I don't like that.
you
I
know.
don't like
But
it.
it's fact. I mean, it happens, right? It's a technology. Cars drive by themselves eventually. Okay, there goes Uber drivers. It's gonna happen, dude. It is what it is. But yeah, so but let's see. I mean, they all like, of course, Dwayne Johnson. Nice thing. I'm just fucking with Dwayne Johnson. He's still my guy. But speaking of losing money, DC, Blue Beetle. So we talked about it. You felt it might be successful. I thought this
I was hoping. I still think so.
For me, it's dead on arrival. And the latest projections kind of support my stance. So there's an article, a box office tracking. They're I always say like 90% accurate. They're pretty good with the tracking, right? Otherwise, they wouldn't be who they were. So they got the projections for Blue Beetle: $12 to $18 million opening. That's not good. That's a disaster. Could it go a little higher? It's possible. Could it go lower? It's possible. Right? It's not an exact
Didn't
science.
Barbie overperform? I thought they thought the opening was going to be like 50 million to
No,
Barbie.
projections about 120. It still overperformed, but they were projecting 120.
Okay.
Right. If you project an 18, let's assume you overperform by 20%. Fine, you're making the 20s. It's not exactly you're raving, dancing for joy with that.
Right.
Either,
Right.
Right. It's not gonna go from 18 to 20 to it making $89 million. That doesn't happen, right? Maybe it makes 25. Maybe it makes 30 if the reviews are good. Who knows? But even 30 is not this is a movie that costs 150, I think.
No, it costs less because it was supposed to be an HBO Max movie.
Well, but they put money into
but just for like post production, not pre. So and it's really just up. It's really just to up the effects that was already established.
Right, but that's expensive though. I mean, I'll let you know how to see if I can find it.
All right.
Production costs. Here we go. Around potentially 120. Then marketing probably close to 200. So it's expensive. When you open at $18 million, that's not good. And I hope this movie is great, but I don't think it's gonna matter. But no one's watching these DC films. Let's be honest, right?
You're right.
I mean, they're not whether good or not. I like Black Adam, and that was okay, but didn't do as well. Shazam, I like Shazam. So did you? That one tanks. We like Flash. Tanks.
But here's the thing. If this
those
movie,
are established characters.
Let's say Blue Beetle. How much did Flash make?
Opening?
No, in total.
Maybe 250, I think, around there.
250. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's say Blue Beetle does 250, right? In total. If the budget was like 120-ish and you do 80 for marketing, that's 200.
Maybe 250 for marketing. You got to do.
It's got all its money, made its money, and 50 mil on top.
No.
That is.
No, you gotta to a more roundabout. Again, not exact science. Is 3 times the production budget to break even. That's usually how it goes. Because remember, they lose 33% of all the ticket sales. So if it makes $100 million, you really made 70, and then you got marketing costs. Generally speaking, so you're looking about $350 million to break even, just to break even.
I've heard differently where they're like, it's a movie.
Because remember, whatever it makes, the theaters get 30%.
Sometimes
even more, right? So let's just take it's just when the movie makes 120 million. You can't say, oh, I made his money back. No, because they lose 30%, right? So that's $40 million that they lost. Now it's really the studio gets 80 million of the 120. So now you're under 40.
But what I said is, if they make 250, they're not 120. If they make 250, you take 30. You take 30%. You take 30 mil for the studios. That leaves it at 220.
That leaves it at 165.
You're still over your production budget.
120.
So
then you got marketing costs.
Right, but think of it this way: for a movie that was not presumed to be a success, that would still be considered a mild, not a big win. It'd be a mild. It's almost like Moneyball. It's like Moneyball. Like on the books, it's a win, even though
that movie will make $250 million if it got released 8,000 times with different titles and maybe on the MCU. That movie will barely make 100. It won't. It just won't. If it opens at 18, generally speaking, you're looking at 3 times your opening numbers.
But here's the thing: it could be one of those movies that just perpetually gets stuck in second place where there's always people watching. It just never hits the number one, and it can slowly have legs and crawl out. Listen, I'm just working out every dynamic
Yeah,
that it could
dude.
because I really wanted to
It's
go.
assume this movie
I
makes.
it looks like a lot of fun, and
And
I really
oh,
wanted to do
I get it. I'm rooting for it, but if the movie opens at $20 million. This opens at 20. It'll make 60 in the U.S. Worldwide,
I'm saying 250 globally, by the way,
no.
not just in the US.
I get it, but no, that movie's not gonna. No, sorry, it's not. It's not. It may make a third of that. So now add another 20. That's $80 million. You're getting 50.
I mean, 80 million would be bad.
It's awful because
But
you're really making 50, and that's how much the marketing costs are. So now you lost $120 million in budget. That's a huge.
I'd
huge
like
loss.
to think that
Indiana
the
Jones
surprise people.
has made
I think
300 something. Look, this movie. Listen, I hope this movie is great. This could be the greatest DC movie of all time.
I Dark Knight still.
I'm
Please,
just
calm
saying.
down.
Let's assume it's Dark Knight. Just saying that.
Oh, all right, sure.
This
Why
movie-
not? We're pretend landing. Go ahead.
This movie makes $18 million. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. The Flash got all kinds of hype, right? Good hype, right? Nothing. Shazam, which came off a well-received Shazam, the first one,
Yeah,
tanked.
It also had, but it had also no marketing behind
I know,
it.
but it tanked. And now remember, there's no promotion because the actor's not going to be promoting the film.
Right.
That won't help either, right? So it's already behind the eight ball. I mean, this movie is dead on arrival. I'm telling you, you can't market it. You can't spend too much money on the marketing. No one knows who Blue Beetle is. It sucks, man. And I'm not happy about it. I think that sucks. Unless the movie sucks, then I'll be happy then. But if it's good, dude, it's tank. And I feel bad. It's tank. The DC's just, my God, they need a break, man. And they need a break because after Blue Beetle, we got Aquaman. So this is the next story here.
Yeah.
Oh.
See, Aquaman's gonna be the death knell. It's gonna be the headshot.
That's tanking. I can tell you right now, that's tanking.
If DC drops to its knees with Blue Beetles, Aquaman is the double tap to the back of the head.
Yeah, dude, it's looking grim and great. There's an article with James Gunn. He saw the movie, and he saw Flash. He's like, yeah, great, whatever, fair enough. He saw this one. He's like, we need reshoots. So now I think they're up to 3. The third reshoot in this film.
Wow.
That's not good. And when we talked about the early screenings and this and that and the issues, they're apparently all true. The Ben Affleck piece has been cut from the film, I heard,
right.
apparently. Which kind of sucks, like Ben Affleck as Batman.
Especially how good he was in Flash.
Right, Flash. I think they're just really disassociating themselves from the DCEU, which I get. But now these reshoots, all we're hearing, this movie is going to tank too, dude. You know it too. You know as much as I do.
Yeah. I have no hope against hope on this one.
Yeah, this is dead on arrival, and this is a movie that's at least Blue Beetle might have maybe because it's cheaper, but this movie I'm sure it's $250 budget.
And remember,
maybe more. What those reshoots are expensive.
I think we talked about this. I was not impressed with the first Aquaman. I was like, this is too much into one movie. It's like the entire trilogy in an hour and 10 minutes. Like that's a lot all at once.
Yeah, and I didn't hate it. I enjoyed it. It was fine for what it was, but it did very well, right? It was the biggest hit.
It did really well. Like it made a billion.
It was a huge hit for them. Their biggest hit. I don't know if you count Joker, it's probably DCU, but you can do it.
Aquaman in real life did better than the Aquaman version in Entourage. That's how big Aquaman was.
Of course. Right now it's saying Aquaman has a budget of 205. I'm not buying that for a second.
No way. Especially with all these reshoots. Yeah, no way.
I'm thinking 250. This is an Indiana Jones budget. This might be 300.
Yeah.
And not even starting the marketing costs, which for a movie like this has to be extensive. This movie is gonna tank. The DC is in the fucking they're in the dirt, dude. They are in
Listen, if Zaslav was serious about his taxes, he would have dropped Aquaman and the Flash. They're like, we're just gonna call it a loss, guys.
He might have. I really thought that hope in Flash because it was, like I said, I thought it was a good film, and we both agree on that. I think they had hope, but
yeah, because the Flash is a fun movie. Not great, but it's a fun movie.
Yeah, it's entertaining. It's better than some of the shit we've seen from others. So listen. It didn't do well. So what hope is there? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now you got a movie Aquaman, which whatever, and third reshoots has been a disaster. And oh my god, dude, oh my god, this should just put this on HBO Max. Put us out on.
They really should. They really should
save themselves the embarrassment. You know what? I mean, how many times can you take it up the ass? Blue Beetle tanks 4 in a row. Come on.
Can I tell you something as a Blue Beetle fan? What I'm not looking forward to is if it does bad. I'm saying if. Give me a little bit. If it does bad, all the news articles are going to be like Blue Beetle, blue. Like, oh, jeez. Oh my God, really? Oh, that's gonna be the worst.
Remind me, I knew that slave for a second. It was a little boy blue. He knew that. Hey,
Beetle.
little blue beetle. But yeah, man, that's funny. So yeah, this is a disaster. DC needs a makeover quick. I'm glad they're taking a year off because they need to. I mean, because
that's another reason why I'm actually pro-strike. It's going to give the studios a chance to go, hey, maybe we're spending too much money on these budgets. Let's bring it down.
That's a separate. They need to, because this is getting the inflation in all these films is unnecessary.
And now they can blame it on somebody else. It's not that we're doing it. We have to make it smaller because these assholes are asking for so much money.
But that could be part of the budget. Could be these salaries too. To be fair, right? It's all part.
Sure.
It all goes into it. So they all have to listen. We can't be paying. You can't spend $300 million on Indiana Jones. I'm sorry, you can. I don't give a fuck. You can't. It's irresponsible. It's just fiscally irresponsible.
Listen, it's not ageism, but your antagonist. I mean, your protagonist has to be young enough to not have to wonder, is he wearing a diaper? That's
what I'm saying.
I'm sorry.
If you're above 50, and it's got to be Mendoza now, right? This is
not even 50. Like you have to look. Unfortunately, it's gonna sound horrible, but if you look like Harrison Ford,
fair enough.
That's
like saying maybe we shouldn't go with this movie. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Unless your name Tom Cruise.
Listen.
Or Keanu
say
Reeves.
What you will. Say what you will about The Force Awakens. When Han Solo died, none of us thought that's impossible. We're like, yeah, it's about that time.
Surprised it lasted that long to begin with.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? See what I'm saying?
Oh man, this is getting really bad. But speaking of potential disasters, because I got a feeling things been reading about potential disasters, but we're gonna stop. DC's down, their horse is down. I'm gonna stop beating it for a second. Marvel, who's not exactly hitting home runs lately, right? For the most part. Right?
Better by comparison.
By comparison, absolutely. But they're in the tanks. DC's in the tank. What are you gonna do? But it's obviously been divisive and financially not as successful as we have seen in the past.
Wobbly. It's been wobbly.
Right. They're hitting that DC territory. They really are. So, anyways, we got the Marvels coming out. They dropped the second trailer. We'll talk about that first real quick. And I saw a second trailer because since I didn't give a fuck about this movie, I'll watch the second trailer. Normally I wouldn't. So I'll ask you, what'd you think about the trailer?
I kind of liked it a lot.
Oh, yeah. A lot? Wow. Okay.
I liked it a lot. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I the more I watch it, I'm like, oh, this looks like just. I get the same feeling of what I watched The Flash, which is like, oh, this is fun without all that other shit in the back of my mind. Like I have to worry about content. Like I watch The Flash, like how does it affect continuity? Fucking the Ezra Miller shit, sure. Like a lot of stuff here. Oh, yeah. Cool, Keaton. But what does this mean for the future? And the Marvels, I'm like, oh, it's all that fun that I go Flash, but I can just watch it. And I have to work on it. I already know what it is. I don't have to worry about doing like nerd math in my head or social issues in my head. I can just watch the movie, and that's what.
Yeah, not a bad trailer. It wasn't a great trailer. It was fine, but I'll put it this way: were you excited? Like, oh my god, I can't wait to see the Marvels. Did you get that feeling when you're watching that trailer? Like, honestly. I'm not saying I like it, not going to go see it. Of course we are, obviously.
I'll put it this way. As a comic book nerd, I love a good visual. The shot when all three of them are lined up, Captain Marvel, Spectrum, Photon, and Miss Marvel, they're in the air, and they're fighting the Kree chick.
Right.
I was like, ooh, that looks cool. I want to see that. So in that moment, I did because it looks like a panel come to life. And I'm a sucker. Just like how James Gunn's The Suicide Squad had that when King Shark rips that dude in half. One of my favorite. Like it was worth seeing the movie for that and when Starro popped up because it looked like a panel come to life.
That was awesome.
Josh Whedon's Age of Ultron, as problematic as an issue was to watch because it's like it had good moments, bad moments.
Sure.
That shot in the beginning where the Avengers all line up and they're about to fight.
Very cool shot.
Like, this shot was worth the price of admission. I'm in. So, am I biased? Absolutely. But that panel shot got me in for sure.
Yeah, like I said, it didn't wow me. It was fine. right? It was fine, a fine trailer, whatever. I heard the tracking list is not good either, and
Ooh.
this is looking to tank as well. I'm not saying flash out or anything like that, but that's the. I mean, they're getting a little bit desperate. They're trying to re-release Miss Marvel because nobody saw it, putting that on I think an ABC.
Well, honestly, I don't think it's a desperate. I think that's them trying to repurpose existing material because they have no new shows.
But it's based out of the response from the film itself.
But I heard they're doing that to all the.
Well, they're doing it Secret Invasion, more particular because of the Marvels, right? In response to this movie coming out, they're trying to build something because there's no hype behind it, right? So they just, and I get, listen, you do what you got to do, right? You're a business, right? So you got to make money. I get it, but it's a sign of what they've seen. They dropped the trailer at midnight on a random day, way too early. They dropped the second trailer because the desperation is there. Usually Marvel trailers 3:00, CST, EST time. Let's do it right. They kind of just snug it in there. All right, it's a Tuesday night. It's midnight. I mean, that's rare.
See,
we don't usually get that. We usually get the trailers like prime time, right?
I got the feeling that the reason why they released this trailer is because they're trying to put more shine on Secret Invasion.
Well, that failed.
Because Fury's in it too, so I figured that
didn't work. But we'll get to that later. But still, but I'm saying, it seems like, but again, tracking, it's early tracking, but it doesn't look good. It's not a movie I don't think people are excited about, and that's my point. Because I don't think, like I said, people never saw, they didn't see Miss Marvel. Let's be honest, they didn't, right? It's facts. The numbers are the numbers, right? So it's hard for someone to get vested in this. And who is this? Who's this other girl, Rambo? But they didn't see, WandaVision. What I'm saying? It's hard. And then Miss Marvel, she's not exactly the best character.
We both agree.
Yeah,
like
she wasn't a
her
favorite,
movie
right.
had a lot of potential. It set up a lot of things, but Jude Law was wasted as a villain because he didn't do anything.
Oh yeah, that was a total waste. And just the lack of personality. It just didn't work.
Yeah.
Which is why they're bringing in these two in here. It's obvious why they're doing that. Like, they need something that pops. So I mean, I'm curious. I mean, like I said, not a bad trailer. I was fine. I'm not excited because I'm not excited because of the Marvel. I'm excited because it's the MCU's reached a certain level, dude. It just has. And it's hard to get excited when they don't give us great stuff consistently, right? We get a few gems here and there, of course, but it's been more bad than good, right? It has been
recently,
right? Recently, right? The last couple of years, right?
If you accumulate total,
yeah, of course,
still big,
right? Which is why they have credit. What DC doesn't have any credit, which is why they're suffering a lot.
Right?
They build credit so they can still make money. They're not, Ant-Man notwithstanding, they're not losing money in some of these films. But they're not doing as good as they used to be. The hype isn't there.
Right.
There's issues. We can argue there's issues with this. Say what you will.
Absolutely.
Something's going on with what's happening here. So, and
you know what? I never thought I would say this about Marvel, but I'm going to describe Marvel the way I've described the Miami Dolphins for like 3 decades of my life. It's a rebuilding year. And so
rebuilding years.
They got to recruit some new guys. They move some stuff around. Get a new coach in.
An article.
Defensive coach. We still like our main coach, but new defensive coach.
Some change needs to be made. I think we all agreed.
We're gonna need like at least 2 new running backs, but I think we got
something's got to give it. They got to draft a new quarterback, and I think there was a guy. Who was it? The guy who did the Arrowverse, responsible for the Arrowverse, or whatever they're talking about. And he's like, he feels like they need a reboot of the MCU, which is not a bad idea.
Not a bad idea.
Start over because what they're doing now is not quite working. We don't know where they're going. We don't know where they're going with this. We have no clue what the hell's going on. Kang, and he's up in the air because of obvious reasons. What the hell's going on? Just reboot it, and not the worst thing. Take a break, reboot. Because right now there's no. We don't know who the Avengers are, right? We don't.
There is no Avengers.
There is
no Avengers, right?
Who's the big central character wall behind? There's no Iron Man. There's no Captain America. That kind of character. Thor could have been, but they ruined him in the last film.
Yeah.
Who we're getting behind here, right? That's what I'm saying. They haven't established any of that stuff.
I think is the one thing we've all missed is that there's
glue,
no
right?
like
that glue.
That glue. There was something about the Robert Downey Jr., Samuel Jackson, Iron Man shield aspect where like he was a front face and he was the secret thing behind the superheroes and they're working parallel. I think that's something that a lot of people miss about the original three phases is that you had Iron Man. Everything was kicked off by Iron Man. Robert Downey, literally, Iron Man created like a third of the villains in the Marvel universe, one way or the other. So he was connected to everything, and then he trained Spider-Man. So there was a bunch of his fingers and his presence wherever. Exactly. And then Nick Fury was introduced at the end of the first Iron Man, and literally everything that was in the Marvel Universe was within the context like Shields exists now. Shields exists in a world of superheroes. How does Shield exist in a world full of superheroes?
Right.
There was a really interesting dynamic of those things, and they did a lot fast.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Finding out,
lifting, and they built these characters who we love, right? Captain America was instrumental in all this, and Thor, and they built them up, and the Avengers, they built for something. We're not getting any of that. We're not getting the characters we like. No one to really hold on. There's no linchpin to this. The story wise, I don't know what's going on. There's too much shit happening, and I don't know, and nobody's watching half the stuff anyway. It's a disaster, man. It's really it's getting DC level. It's not quite there yet, but
here's the thing.
it's
I'm
tracking
gonna save
towards
the
like
Marvel universe.
DC level.
I'm gonna save the Marvel universe in 5 easy moves. Number one, you need to make a stylized movie in the vein of Winter Soldier, which is like it looked like a Marvel movie, but it didn't. It felt very much like something else, a little bit grittier, a little more realer.
Agreed.
Like you could do that with like as a movie, not a TV series. Mm-hmm. Daredevil or Moon Knight, you're in. That is exactly what you want to do. You need to have a in tone an Into the Spider-Verse type film. You could do that with Miss Marvel. You could do it with the Young Avengers. Have that kind of where it's fun, it's rompy. The stakes can get serious, like how the Spot became at the end, but it's very jokey and very quippy. And then you have sort of like the you need a horror element, and what I mean, not in the multiverse of madness horror. You need something a little bit real, like The Witcher. The Witcher feels real. It feels gross and sticky, and give us a world that feels like a Marvel movie, but it feels different and grimier. Okay. And then you need for lack of a better, you need like a championship game movie. You need a Super Bowl. You need a World Series. You need something that like reward. Like, okay, you went through like 5 or 6 of these movies, and now you get this. If you don't do that like the way you did it before with the phases, people don't know. There's no reward to the work.
Agreed. Yeah, and they're used to it. That's the problem, right? Because now that's what we want to see. You gave us this. Where is it? And it's a curse at the same time. And because they built this the way they want, which we all appreciate it. Now they're moving away from that, and that's what we want to see now.
And here's the thing.
Double-edged sword.
In the first phase, you got Avengers 1. Mm-hmm. In the second phase, you got Avengers 2. And then he said, we're not going to do Avengers at the end of phase 3 right away. Give us a second, but we're going to make it worth your while. And he gave us 2 massive monster freaking movies.
It was built up properly, right from the story. And that's the whole point, right? And
But now you've like tripled your output, and there's been no big reward movie. Exactly. We need a reward movie.
We need something. And I don't know. But and I don't know. And right now, the first thing to do is stop making all this stuff. They need to, which they talked about. To be fair, about Iger said they need to scale back, which we both completely agree with that assessment, right? Because now we get stuff like Secret Invasion, which just ended a 6-episode run, and right on cue. Listen, I'll give Marvel credit where credit's due. They are incredibly consistent, right? Their shows have, generally speaking, started off okay, good, decent, and ended like shit. That's been the formula, right? That's the common denominator here. This is no different. I liked this show coming out. That I was okay. It was entertaining. It's coming pretty good. That swing episode came, which I did not like, and then it was downhill from there. Because that ending, like consistency. Marvel likes to rush the endings. Check. Something ridiculous in there. Check. Set up a bunch of shit, not focusing on the story. Check. Like clockwork. They are consistent. Consistent mediocrity. And I didn't say this was the worst thing I've ever seen. It's not. I'd be lying if I said that. But it wasn't good. And it didn't end well, dude. What'd you think?
Special effects wise, I thought the fight scene looked really cool.
The money was there. I'll give you. Yeah, of course. It looked fine.
Yeah, I was worried about it because in earlier episodes, when they did some of the special effects, it looked rushed or curved. And this one, I was like, oh, all this visually looks really cool.
Agreed.
So that was a relief because at no point did I feel like, oh, I'm watching a TV show. If you just watch that fight scene, that could have been in a movie. You're going to be like, that is a movie quality special effects right there.
Agreed.
So that was good. The problem with the ending that I had was with Nick Fury confronting the president and Rhodes while Farnsworth was his backup.
Oh.
And then the setup resolution at the very end of it. Okay, so spoiler warnings.
Oh no, yeah, we're unleashing it. Good, peace.
We're going in.
Going in. Yeah.
While you're watching the action fight between Gravik and Gaia, which looks great, Rhodey, Skrull Rhodey, is with the president, and Nick Fury confronts the president at gunpoint because he's knocked out all the other guards with a tranq gun, and it's telling him Rhodey's a Skrull, Rhodey's a Skrull. The president's got a gun. He's like, no, he's not. And then Farnsworth, the head of MI6, the British lady who is just awesome in the show.
She's good. I like her. Yeah.
She puts a gun in Rhodey's head, and they're like, it's a weird sort of like logistical Mexican standoff situation there, or a Central American standoff. I don't want to, I want to be offensive. So
okay, we're Latino. We can say that.
Okay. It's a Mexican standoff.
We can own that. We can own
that. And the whole time this is going on, I'm surprised that because Farnsworth has been such a cold, hard G. Like when she encountered Skrull, she cut that dude's finger off, watched it turn green, and went, "Oh, cool! Now we can stop pretending that you're human and get down to having fun."
With no hesitation.
She literally walked up to those two Skrull aliens and goes, "You have two choices: cake or death." And I was like, "Oh man, you're quoting Eddie Izzard and being awesome? Hell yeah, let's do it." So that all being said, because she's been this type of character for like 5 episodes, there's no way I didn't expect. He goes, "Mr. President, look at me." And when he turned around, she shot Rhodey in the head right there and went, "Skrull." You see, like that's how she would do it.
Yeah.
And the fact that they waited for Skrull Rhodey to make a move to go, oh, look, now it's self-defense. And it was a waste of time. Both Nick Fury and Farnsworth are such masterful spies. They would never have let in that situation get that far. They would have been so abrupt and shocking about it just to prove their point, to move things along.
Because that was the only way to prove their point, was to hurt them or kill them or whatever.
That's it.
Yeah.
And either one of them would have done it. Like, if Nick Fury was the kind of dude who canvassed a battlefield to get the blood of superheroes to make a special DNA, like, he would not have gone through that whole song and dance. He would have done just a pop. Oh yeah, he's a Skrull, by the way. Sorry. Like, that's exactly what he would have done. So I feel like that was done for a tension that was unnecessary because of the characters you were in. Fair. Like, if anything, the tension should have been for the president trying to keep up with what these guys are doing, because they're moving so fast. Right. He's like, whoa, what? Like, come on, this is what we're doing. So that I had a problem with that. And then at the end, the president starts setting up that he's treating all aliens on Earth as terrorists, and people are getting killed who are Skrulls, and people are getting killed who are not Skrulls. I like that paranoia aspect, but if you're already going to set up Harrison Ford as the next president in the new Captain America movie, who's going to be the Red Hulk,
right?
Why keep this president on? Like, building up this tension only serves to either, if you're going to do another Skrull story, or if you're going to automatically introduce mutants and make them think that all mutants are just aliens. Like, but you're not, because Deadpool is just starting to bring up mutants. Like, you have Namor and Miss Marvel, but it's not enough to become like in the zeitgeist in that world. So it's an unnecessary, like, dun dun dun. Like you're saying, you're setting up something that has no real payoff.
Yeah, that didn't quite work. That was, it felt off.
Right.
Like, it was unnecessary. I don't know, just for the sake of doing something shocking or whatever. It just didn't work. I wish they had that tension, that paranoia thing throughout the show, which it really lacked. That would
have been great.
But it didn't follow up on that at all, which is a shame. Like, the show could have been something great. That was one of my complaints. Like, they're not doing enough. But
that's exactly it. So, was it the worst ending? No, I don't think it was the worst ending. The worst ending. I think that it was an ending where, because they got the big action sequence down, they thought, okay, we don't have to try hard with the actual talkie head parts. And if Oppenheimer's taught us anything, is talkie head parts will get you $80 million. So
it can work. We know that.
So you gotta nail the talkie head part too, man.
Of course you do.
Like,
absolutely, man. Yeah.
So that's the thing where it's frustrating because for a long time we're like the special effects look bad. They're like, look, the special effects look great. Goes, yeah, but now the talking head parts are bad because you're making them act not the way they've acted in 5 episodes,
Yeah.
so you can have this ending. Like the characters can't be weird because script said so. The
Right.
characters have to be weird
It's
because they're weird.
that consistency, and it's like, and that's when it comes. This is the finale, and I think you take away the credits and all the nonsense. Like 32 minutes, it's pretty short, dude. And what are we complaining about? Just the length of these shows, and there's no balance. And it misses. This show needed an extra 15, 20 minutes. The best episodes.
It's the same complaint we had with Moon Knight.
Same, right, same thing, and all these
15,
other
20
shows
minutes.
that just even in Miss Marvel, I like how it started. It didn't quite end as well, but it's just like they teeter downwards. The best episode was first couple, and those were an hour long. Do the math.
Yeah.
Just do the math. Right? Okay, it's not a mystery. Right? You get 50-minute episode, which is full, got of stuff going on.
Like honestly, they should know by now. You should start the series in short,
right, and make it longer,
have it get bigger.
Yeah,
for the ending.
And I don't understand what's going. And listen, for me personally, and I've talked to other people, and they share some of this, some do, some don't, but the whole whatever her name is, Khaleesi. We'll call it Khaleesi. Whatever.
Yeah, got it.
Giving her that power, it just didn't make the whole plan didn't make sense. Let's be honest. Why would you take a risk giving him DNA? Anything could have happened, and now you give him DNA, you're fucked, right? That doesn't make sense. If they give him a fake bottle, no, okay, I get it. Wink, wink. I expected that was real. Like what? Okay, fine. They had that cool conversation when we thought it was still Nick Fury, which I kind of knew it wasn't, but let's just pretend we did. Really good, the reconciliation between both of them. I like this, but then it's wasted because it's not really Nick Fury anyway. You talk about the blip, so who? Okay, so that was pointless, right? That conversation should have been had like 2 episodes ago, right?
I will say
if that was done 2 episodes ago with the real Nick Fury. That would have been a really cool scene. That meant something, but they just wasted it, right? In the end, just to.
I will say the guy who played Gravik,
he was great.
Acted the crap out of it.
He's been good the whole series.
Yeah, fantastic.
Consistent, no doubt. He's been really good.
Fantastic.
And then, but then given the powers now, now people complain, and which me included, Captain Marvel was too overpowered, right? Now we got someone who tops her by far because she has powers from everybody. So but things, what do you do with that character? It exists. She's Captain Marvel mixed with Hulk and Thor, Thanos, all the big guns, the most powerful people in the universe. She has all the power in one.
And that was the one nerd problem I had with it. Okay, so if you guys are fans of the show, because you're watching this, you remember my big question when I watched the first episode is, how did you turn an adult Skrull into a little girl who bounces a ball? What part of their body is that ball?
Right.
I had that problem. It bothered me. I moved on because I just enjoyed the series.
Sure.
But that was a problem. As a nerd, if you watch Endgame, and based on the box office and the sales of the physical media and the stream views, everyone has.
True.
When Tony Stark stops Thanos and his army, they turn to dust. They turn to dust.
Yeah.
Where did you get the blood for their dust?
That's what I'm saying. Nick Fury wasn't around for that. Right? He got snapped before Thanos was even on Earth, for Christ's sake, maybe towards the end. But
I will accept Call Obsidian because that was the arm from the original, and he destroyed the 2014. I've done the math.
No, you're right, absolutely right. I didn't think about that, but you're absolutely right. He wouldn't have DNA. Where's he gonna get it from? It doesn't make sense. Who was there to clean that up? Hey, there's nobody.
Here's the thing. Let's say, well, Eric, if you're counting Infinity War as blood, well, Call Obsidian and Proxima Midnight did die in Infinity War, which is true. But Call Obsidian died in space, and Proxima Midnight got shredded into Wakanda. You can't get into Wakanda.
That's a good point.
Can't get into Wakanda.
Ebony Maw, right? It is also Ebony Maw. He died in space.
Right? Ebony Maw was in space. Call Obsidian had his arm cut off on Earth.
Yeah, exactly.
But Ebony Maw was in space. And Proxima Midnight got shredded in Wakanda. You're not getting Wakanda, so that's not where you got the blood.
So Nick Fury couldn't have made the order because he was snapped away. It just doesn't.
That's what I'm saying.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, right? But it's just like, okay, it's just inconsistencies.
And Thanos, he only bled on Jupiter.
Exactly. He would have had the blood. There's nothing there. It doesn't exist.
So, but everyone else, I was cool. You want to put Valkyrie? You want to put Captain Marvel? You want to put
Sure.
Black Panther? Cool. I'm down for all that.
Yeah.
Just be consistent in your
Yeah.
nerd, man.
Yeah. But again, now it's like, what do you do with her? She's the most powerful being in the world. It.
And wait. There's one more part that bothered me. One more part that bothered me. All right, here we go. In the beginning, when Nick Skrull Fury, secretly guy, was walking into, let's call it Chernobyl, a
Sure.
nuclear power plant. The radiation was affecting him, and he had to keep taking the iodine pills. But the humans were locked underneath. And then at the end of the episode, they're walking out. They should all be dying right there.
Probably
They should
dead.
all be on the floor. Like,
Probably dead. Yeah.
yeah. So what happened?
It's a mess, dude. It was messy. It was just like I said. It's a shame.
So
I mean, we shouldn't be surprised. We should not be surprised because this is what they've given us all this time, right? Let's be honest, right? It's they're consistent.
but that's the problem. If you're
That's a
gonna
problem,
go,
no doubt.
if you're gonna go for awesome spy thriller, what makes it an awesome spy thriller is that you've considered all aspects, and it all goes into a synchronized way. You're like,
And
wow,
even if it's
who would have
if
thought?
it's not plausible, which it's not, but it doesn't matter. We buy into it. We believe, i.e., Mission Impossible, right? We know half that shit's not gonna be real. We get it, but you buy into it because they're doing the verisimilitude that's in those shows, that those movies. Like, okay, I buy it. I'd buy it because they do a good job and they're consistent. It's realistic. This is just whatever. They're just throwing shit on spaghetti in the wall, dude. What if this is like, oh, what if we do Thanos and oh man, what about this? And they're not even thinking about it. They just toss it. They put it in the blender, and now she's the greatest being ever, and she's never gonna be seen again. I don't like to have someone that powerful anyway, because then where's the threat?
Yeah,
Who's gonna beat her? Nobody. Nobody.
but I think they'll have a way to beat her, and so her death will be used as like that's how dangerous this threat
Maybe
is.
I guess
It took her out,
I
and
don't
she's
know.
a super scroll. So that's what I think. That's what I
I
think.
don't know. I mean, who knows? I don't have confidence that they know what they're doing with that. I think they just did it without even thought that it'd be cool to do, right? Not
Sure.
thinking what it would lead to or could lead to. Let's just do this and do that. It's like, oh, and it sounds cool, right? Oh, what if he had these powers? That's what we do in play with toys and shit. Hey,
Sure.
my guy can do this. That's great.
But here's the thing: if let's say everything works out with Jonathan Majors, who knows? Fingers crossed. Optimistic. Nobody wants to root for a bad guy,
fair
so I
enough.
hope he's not.
True. True.
But if he shows up as Kang, and she shows up as one of 20 superhero powers, and he's able to take her out and then move on, that's the kind of thing people go, "Oh, damn!" Like he essentially just took 20 of us
They could
out.
do that, but then that's not gonna happen. So.
I think it is.
I don't think she's even gonna be shown in this stuff. To be honest with you, I
I
really
think
don't.
so. I think she'll be shown to be killed off.
Because the problem is, since nobody saw this show anyway, why it's not gonna mean anything. The ratings are
She
bad.
still has face brand recognition.
But no one
If
else
she
is
shows
yet.
up in the movie, they're like, "Is that Khaleesi? Oh, damn, she's
That's
dead."
cool. But then
I think
how
that's
she all
what
these
happened.
powers, what's going on? Then it's just no investment. She dead. Who cares? Who
They,
cares?
they may not know why she has powers, but that's the if you do a well directed
Yeah,
movie,
but it's
the
a
beauty shorthand. I don't know why they're like this, but they are. And then this happened. It's still
yeah, dude.
impact.
Yeah, now you're clutching it. We both know that's never gonna happen. You're never gonna see in the film.
I think you're seeing her film to die.
No,
That's what I think.
never. Not gonna happen. Because
She may.
but that's the problem. That if Kang is kill her, there's no scenario that anybody would defeat him as possible. Because he beats the most powerful room, and now he comes through and kills him. You ruin that part of it. It's building stakes is one thing, right? It is, but now it's unrealistic.
But here's the thing:
But the strongest
if
being
you
you can't beat if you beat the strongest person ever and he's dead and they're gone. No one else has a chance. I don't care what you do.
I disagree,
what plan
because
you have and all. It
the
doesn't make sense.
the thing
You can
you're
kill
not
Thor.
noticing is
No,
he's defeating.
I get it, and it's building him up at the expense of the hero. There's a way of doing
I
it without doing
disagree,
that.
because they got to show we can't beat this guy with brute force. We're gonna have to outthink him, and that is where
Yeah, but everyone
the hero's
in
journey
the
is.
MCU is dumb as fuck as Tony Stark in there.
But you're gonna introduce a Reed
There's
Richards,
nobody with
and now
brains.
you got a chance.
Right, yeah, Reed Richards. And one movie, it goes back to the problem. They're gonna get one movie of him, and now he's the guy we're rooting for.
I think so.
Really?
If they make it phase 2 good, you can do it.
It's a big if, dude.
I know, but it's possible.
I have to go by the evidence. And the evidence over the last 2 years,
Look,
and it's
if you
going to be
get
three.
a Reed Richards, a Doctor Strange, and you have the Hulk in there, and if they
Doctor
could pull
Strange is not the
Spider-Man,
smartest guy. And go see No Way Home. He's dumb as a motherfucker for what he did. He's just not that guy.
Peter,
He never should have given Peter that spell. That was nonsense. He's dumb as fuck. He's not the guy. Any plan he comes up with is utter nonsense because he's utter nonsense. It's just facts. That's how they wrote him.
but he is the master of the mystic arts, which is something
That's
that maybe
great.
Kang
But
has a
you're
weakness
not beating
for.
with magic.
Magic.
You need smarts, right? He ain't the guy.
You bring Wong. Bring Wong in.
Another moron. He relies on She-Hulk. Anyway, if you rely on She-Hulk, you're a fucking idiot. Let's just be honest. He's not that guy. No, they don't have that guy. He's not in the MCU. He's not. And that's their fault.
Yeah.
Right? It ain't Shang-Chi. Tell you right now.
No, Shang-Chi's not going to beat him.
That's what I'm saying.
Captain America's not going to beat him.
You
have to outsmart him and bring in an aspect he's not prepared for.
Thor?
So I think super smarts and magic.
They dumb down Thor. I mean, who's there? No one has Captain Marvel. They're not gonna give her the glory. That's what I'm saying. It's just they haven't built it up right to make this like really gonna be any kind of impact. It just and then that's their fault. That's their issue. And that's a problem.
If you do Captain America for inspiration, but you go magic and intellect, you have a chance.
No, Captain America. It's not Captain America. It's some other guy, dude. It's not the same, dude.
I'm sorry. I think
dude.
I was around when Falcon first took on the mantle of Captain America, and he has very established Captain America aspects.
Captain America couldn't really beat the Thug because he has no power. He has nothing. He's just the guy. He's just the guy, dude.
But I say for inspiration. Just inspiration.
And he's not Steve Rogers. He's not even close. And that's the problem. You're not him. He could be great. I get it. We love him and lead us to victory. He's not Steve Rogers. He's just not. No matter what anybody says. I
disagree because I read more comics. The Sam Wilson in comics is getting to Cap status.
When they
really
make
cool.
that comic, we'll read it. We'll all love it. When they make the movie, we're like, this is nonsense because this is not the comic.
I disagree.
It's not the comic, dude.
I disagree. I think Sam Wilson Falcon Cap can deliver into that.
The guy. He's not.
I disagree.
He doesn't have it. He doesn't have any abilities. And he ain't like a genius. He's not. Is he a great leader? I don't even think he's that good a leader, to be honest with you. He hasn't proven that. Steve Rogers was a selfish guy. You bought into him. You bought into him when he was skinny and shit. Like, this is the guy. Right? And they did a great job of building him up, saying, oh, this is what we can get. That's not Falcon, dude. It's not. Nothing's going to change because you give him a shield. I see the potential in it. I see the potential. And once again, I feel like I'm biased because I read a lot of books and I've seen him grow into a role. Comics, he might be the greatest thing you've ever seen. He might be. I'll say it right
now. Not
the
greatest.
No. He's the greatest of all time. I get it. But talking about the movies and the MCU doesn't always follow the comics. They rarely do. So I'm just going by what they've given us. What they've given us is a guy who's cool. He's not the guy. The guy's not there. It doesn't exist currently in the MCU, right, as we know it.
But
and it's hard
I think Captain America New World Order could go a long way of getting you to see him in that way.
Yeah, against mid-level guys, not against Kang. It's just it is what it is. He's gonna lead there.
That's what I said. Kang would have to be magic and super scientist with Cap for inspiration. That's the combo.
Then they need to give us a Cap. They need to give us someone who's believable.
I think that's what New World Order is going to give you.
And have to give us someone
or Brave New World. Sorry, I think that's what Brave New World is going to give us.
That's a series to make into a movie. They made the right decision. That was going to be a series, and they said, let's put it as a movie. That was the right choice. 2 hours. They don't have to rush anything. Give us 5 episodes of nonsense and 1 decent episode. But it's going to be a TV show in a movie form. That's what it's going to be.
I don't know.
Let's call it what it is. It's time.
I'm telling you, I don't know.
We have to stop giving Marvel credit. We have to be fair. We do. We have to be fair, right? No one likes DC. And I know people who love DC. But you cannot defend what they do. Impossible. Right. You cannot. Sure. Right now,
absolutely.
You cannot defend Marvel. There's no reason to believe in what they do. They've shown us that they lost it. Too many projects, watered down, no plan, as by their own admission. So why would I sit and think that they have something that's going to change? They have nothing. Right now, they're giving us crap. Just be fair. They are DC. That's what they are. And if you didn't like DC, you can't say you like Marvel. You cannot, because it's the exact same thing. Issues on filming, people getting fired, people doing shit outside, a la Ezra Miller. It's just what's going on. no direction, just movies, random shit going on, inconsistent results. That's DC. It's the exact same thing with worse TV shows, right? Am I right? It's
No, I still think the
right.
CW TV shows are worse.
You know which ones?
The CW TV shows are worse.
The real DC shows are far superior on Max.
And Titans.
That's Titans. That's fair, but
But
Kingpin with the Hawaiian shirt, dude. I mean, come on.
it wasn't a full season of
It
it.
was awful. It was awful. She-Hulk was terrible. No one liked the
like
show. WandaVision was not. It's just they're having this one great show. They just had it. And this call out Marvel what they are. They are mediocre right now. Mediocre, and that's being nice. That's being nice. They're mediocre.
I think it's being a little mean. I think they're a little. I think they're
mediocre.
They're
mediocre, dude. Come on.
They're okay. They're not mediocre.
Right.
They're okay.
Mediocre. That's okay. Mediocre.
Okay is high end mediocre. Mediocre is like right before bad.
They're mediocre, dude. They're average. Mediocre is right in the middle. They're mid, as the kids say. They're mid.
They're mid. Right now, there's a lot of mid going on.
That's what I'm saying. That's what. So it's hard to give them credit. This is why I don't get excited anymore. Because you gotta listen. You gotta. What you done for me lately? Right. I get they were great 5 years ago, and I get all that. But that credit runs after some time, dude. You know what I'm saying? We're a long ways from the end game, right? We are. Let's be honest. And we're inching further away from Endgame. It just hasn't been the same, and that sucks. Because I want it to be good, but they just haven't given us good. There's a reason why the box office has gone down, the quality has gone down. You can't argue that. It's mediocre. It's unfortunate. I'm not rooting for it, but I can't get excited or give them credit when they've given us dick, dude. They're giving us dick. That's what they're giving us. That's all. A couple of good things here and there. I like Guardians of the Galaxy and all that, but those were established characters who we all knew and loved. Right, ending off. Right now, there's no characters that we love. Who do we love? None. Not out of the new generation. Not one, dude. There's no Iron
Moon Knight.
There's no Iron Man in there. You know, you need that. You need the star. You need that.
Yeah.
You need that. You need your Superman, right? You need your Batman. Batman sucks. Superman sucks. It's pointless. DC. That's exactly what happened, right? When you established guys aren't there, Flash could have been the greatest movie of all time. It wouldn't have mattered. Even Aquaman, it doesn't matter. You got your top guys have to be on point. Have to be the man, and they don't have that, and they haven't replaced those guys.
Here's the thing. Because they went through so much of what's considered the top tier Marvel heroes, they were like, okay, let's go for the second tier, but they're still second tier,
right?
And so they should have gone.
You need somebody.
They should have jumped to the next franchise they have to have top tier, like the X-Men. They should have gone all in on the X-Men off the jump.
Absolutely, yeah. And now it's hard to introduce them because that's just more characters on top of more characters, right?
Right.
And now it's like
right.
They should wait. Don't do it soon because then it gets messy.
Yeah.
Right? Then you got this and you got X. And X-Men's like it's not just 2 people. It's like dozens of characters,
like
right?
50. It's like 100 people.
Right,
yeah.
and that's just that now we're dilute. It's not the right time for X-Men. As much as I love to see X-Men, it's just not the right time.
I mean, we're gonna get Deadpool, but we're not getting the X-Men yet. Right, not for a while.
I will hope that's the case. I don't want to see X-Men for another 4 or 5 years. As much as I hate to say it, because they're just not ready for it. We're not ready for it. That could be a whole new phase. You friends just can't bring whatever.
It should be a whole new phase. You're right. It should be a whole new phase.
Yes.
But
start off.
What they should have done is after Endgame, they should have let the Spider-Man franchise run.
Probably.
And they should have taken and 2 things. They should have, movie-wise, they should have established the mutants right away because that's your next big crop of mainstays. You know, it should have been Fantastic Four, the X-Men should have been the 2 big pushes. That's it.
Yeah. The multiverse could have waited
a little bit longer. A little bit longer. Maybe do a Doctor Strange and a Thor that flirted with the multiverse from a cosmic and a mystical angle. But it should have been mostly the X-Men on Earth.
Right.
That should have been, and you could have connected to because you guys traveled through time and space and the Infinity Stones, it triggered a thing. Mutants, blah. That's it.
Right.
Fine. That's how you could have done it.
Exactly.
And then in the TV series, hindsight's all 2020. Listen, was the comic book Secret Invasion fun? Yeah, it was a great story. I tell everyone they should read it because it was so much grander than the TV series. TV series, they kept it very grounded to just Nick Fury. Mm-hmm. But instead of doing all these TV shows, how great would it have been if the if you did Secret Invasion as a 10-episode series, but you had Nick Fury, you had War Machine, you had Falcon and Winter Soldier, and you had a Black Widow, and you had U.S. Agent, and you would have been all and the Dora Milaje and Baron Zemo. You could have taken the plot line to Falcon Winter Soldier, merged it to Secret Invasion, done the scroll twist, and then the superheroes that you had created made them be freaking out over each other, wondering who's really a scroll, who's not.
Which is interesting. That's awesome. That's
that, and you could have done 10 episodes and saved the money and all the. And then you could have done Miss Marvel, Moon Knight, Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special, and Werewolf by Night as 1 hour specials.
Yeah, all 1 hour specials. You don't need all these series. You don't need, and they clearly can't. They don't know how to do a series yet. They haven't cracked that code yet. They haven't. Loki's coming out. I have no hope. I'm not saying it's gonna be
1 hour special.
I'm not saying
Loki. And Loki could have still stood by its own. Loki is the one that they really got it right. It was just a perfect thing. But everything else could have been. You could have had WandaVision, like Wanda as like an issue of like. I think WandaVision could have been on its own too, from being honest. But Moon Knight and Miss Marvel, 1 hour specials along with Guardians of the Galaxy and Werewolf by Night. And Secret Invasion is a 10-episode series with all those actors, because that's how you would have carried over the momentum from Endgame to a series, and you would have saved money on production, and you put a bunch of money to make it this 10-episode series awesome, and it would have felt familiar to everyone who saw the movie. So the movies, you're pushing the new to your guys. TV series, you're giving like a final extension ending or a next phase, a mini phase to those established
the lower end people, which is fine. I have no problem with that. But that
could have been it.
But you need to establish again. The top dog needs to be established somewhere. TV, give us somebody we can all root behind. That glue, right? It's absent, and I think that's the biggest issue now. There's nobody there like that unites. I mean, people love Iron Man. They loved Iron Man. I know they expected that. Right? Yeah. When they did, the focus is all about him and then with Captain.
And it was smart. It was smart to focus everything on him.
Read the room, right? Oh, everyone knows Iron Man. Okay. They rushed the second one, which is a mistake, but it was early for them. They rushed the second one because they knew what's up, right? They're making money. But he became the centerpiece of the whole MCU. He really did. It doesn't work without Iron Man.
Look, if you have a Chris Hemsworth or a Chris Pratt or Robert Downey Jr., really charismatic, or if you want strong male heroes who are powerful but stoic, you have your Black Panther, your Captain America. You need to have one of those two types of characters to hang your Marvel hat on, because that's what Marvel is. It's the fun action character or the stoic strong character. But if you're not giving us those, we've trained us to respect the language, and you're giving us new stuff that is completely foreign than the language we've been trained on.
And it's like I say, Shang-Chi was great, but he's cool, but he's not the guy.
He's not Cap.
He's not. I like him, but yeah. And
Moon Knight's cool, Ant-Man, but he's not Black Panther.
And Ant-Man. It's like there's nobody, and it's not Captain Marvel. I guess it can't be her because no one likes her. I mean, maybe they're fixing this movie. I don't know, but no one's like rooting for her. Like, hey, Captain Marvel. It's just there's no one there. Black Widow's gone, right? Cap is gone, and Thor's a joke. He is. He really is. I love Thor, but he's a joke now. So I said they really have failed. They dropped the ball big time, dude. And that's what I'm saying. They have no credit, dude. I can't. I have no confidence that they're gonna get anything right. I really do. And
I still think they could turn it around.
I think eventually, just not in the short term. Like it'll take a while. Like the whole reboot idea was actually, and I heard, I'm like, you know what? That's not a bad idea. Just start over.
Here's the thing.
And then introduce that main guy, right? Who's gonna be the linchpin here?
The problem is that Marvel is used to thinking on their feet, on their terms. And when the pandemic came and flipped everything over, it was like seeing someone on roller skates hit a crack in the side. It just, and they're doing all the stuff they know to catch themselves, but they're going downhill, and there's like traffic coming, and they're moving like a glass mirror, like it's just he's doing his best to stop it, but it's rough.
Yeah, it's rough, and they need to take a break. Maybe like DC, they both should take breaks. Don't do any movies and just start over or what? Well, DC started.
That's what I'm saying.
DC started going. That's great. But just
the one good thing about the strike is it's giving them the breathing room.
what they need to do. I mean, what DC's already doing, and they were well, they had no choice. They had to at that point.
The DC had no choice.
Right.
Marvel should take this as an opportunity.
This is just push back. Don't release anything. Just take a step back. Look what you got. It is the way you want to go. Rethink that strategy. I'm saying maybe
Absolutely.
take a year off. It's okay. No one's gonna miss these movies. It's fine. They'll come in droves in 2 years and watch them. Don't worry about it. Right.
They'll be entertainment starved.
Right, exactly. Oh, can we? When is the next Marvel? And all of a sudden it drops, and everyone's going nuts. And that's fine. We build the hunger, right? The appetite, if you will, and then serve a nice meal later. Don't just give them shit every 2 months. Is a new movie, which is like,
But 3 phases later, you give them shit. But those first 3 phases really feed them well.
Got a good guns blazing. Get us spoiled like we were, right?
Sure.
And now it's like, chickens go home to roost. It's like, okay.
And then the language is every 3 phases is awesome. And then there's like 2 phases where you wobble, and then you go 3 phases awesome. And then 2 phases of wobble. And those wobble ones, smaller budgets.
Oh my God! Yeah, they need to cut budgets down too. They all do.
Yeah,
they all do.
We said it as soon as we finished watching it. Is Shang-Chi good? Yes, it's a really good movie. Did they need the big dragon fight at the end? No, they did not.
They don't need that.
The fight should have been between him and his dad. That's how it should have been.
That's it. But focus on the story. The talkie is good. It's fine.
Talkie gets you 80 million.
Yeah, if it's compelling and done right and interesting, it works just fine. We don't need we don't need all the spectacle. We don't need all that. Save it for the Avengers, right? Give it the spectacle then, right? Because you want spectacle, you have Avengers. You need it.
Right, of course.
Save it for that. You don't need all. It doesn't have to be the biggest thing in the world. It doesn't have to be that. It can be a nice small. Iron Man was actually a small film. You go back and watch
small film.
Was a small film, as was Captain America. Even Winter Soldier was, for the most part, a smaller film. Had a big third act, but it wasn't like dragons shit flying around. It's just keep it small, man.
It was big within the terms of the world they were working in. That's what it was.
That shit works, man. It works. Like, first Captain America was like that. And even Guardians wasn't really a huge bombastic film, right? It works, dude. I don't need a third act that's out of control, man. Black Widow had a ridiculous third act. They all do. We don't need it.
Yeah, Black Widow, way over the top.
Way over the top. It just didn't work.
It should have been Born Identity. It should have been that grounded
that's
level
the movie
sort
you're
of.
making, right? And I think that's what Marvel's getting away from itself. It wants it just put that Marvel imprint. It's okay to make a good spy thriller, i.e., Winter Soldier, and it works. You don't need
instead of doing an entire unit of Black Widows, it should have been like 4 sleeper agents that were all activated. To go after her, because those are the last 4 left,
right,
and
that's fine.
That would have been interesting. Seeing,
of course, man. Yeah, you need a climax. I get it, but
sure,
you don't need this huge ship and whatever. Everybody's flying. You don't need.
Just remember, Die Hard's climax is in the place the movie starts at. Basically, it's all in that one building. Yeah. Do they blow up the top levels? Sure, but that's the climax of the movie.
Exactly. So trim it down. You have to trim this shit down. We don't need Indiana Jones all over again, for Christ's sake.
Make it impactful for the circumstance, not impactful for the world. Right. It's the circumstance.
And I think they fall in their own tropes. You just want to do bigger and bigger is better. And it just doesn't work like that. It just, after a while, that gets old. It does. Yeah. People get tired of that shit.
It's the reason why the 3 seasons of Daredevil on Netflix are so rewatchable, because everything is important because of the world they're in. Right. He is not fighting Dormammu. He's not fighting an army of hand ninjas, unless they're going after dragon bones. Okay, they kind of get away from me at the end. But you understand, but it took a while to get there. He fought army ninjas after 2 seasons, and it wasn't a crossover.
It was him, Kingpin, mano. That's all you need.
Yeah.
That's all you need. You don't need all this big fucking spectacle. You don't need that, and because it gets old. And all these DC does it too, and then ain't just Marvel. To be fair, they all do it. It's the third act. They know how to finish these movies. They really don't. They think they have to pump all this money in and give us this visual. We don't need that. I don't need it. It's cool, but if it doesn't serve as a story, what's the point? You're doing it for the sake of doing it, and that's the problem. Like Shang-Chi, that was just for the sake of putting something cool on screen. Unnecessary.
And we've said one of the best. 2 of the best Marvel endings was the ending of Loki and Doctor Strange. It was a verbal battle of wits, trying to see whose choices were going to be more Who's going to be more dedicated to their choices? That's a really interesting ending. It doesn't all have to be sky beams, armies of a thing.
Exactly.
It could be just people going, how much resolve do you have to this choice, and stick to it. Like that shows more of a hero's determination and ability than the big nonsense of everything that. So it doesn't have to be big all the time. Just big for the world, big for the context.
You can use a cool fight scene in the beginning and second act, even to illustrate the cool nonsense, all that gray, and then the third act do something different, something unique and interesting and intelligent. You know, come on, and that's and again, I guess that's across the board. That's not a Marvel problem. I don't want to pick on Marvel all the time. DC does it too. So they all do it. They all have that thing. So again, which goes back to the big budgets to help. If you trim that down, you're forced to trim down things like that third act bombastic feel. Don't need that. Yeah. You can cut yourself $30 million right there off the top, and you make the same fucking money. I guarantee you make the same money with us there now. It's a fact.
But if you do it smarter, you might make more.
Exactly, money. And you give yourself a chance to do even better than what you're doing now, because they're all struggling. Even Marvel. Marvel's doing fine, but they're not hitting $1 billion films here. And the Marvels will not hit $1 billion terror right now. It's not any more than Aquaman.
Listen,
I can tell Aquaman's not hitting that shit.
Imagine if you would have watched Moon Knight, but it would have been more in the Daredevil Netflix world. You wouldn't have to have the big kaiju fight.
Exactly.
You could have had a psychological thing, like, is that God real or not? And have it almost American Psycho-ish.
Even that stuff, like that, the battle within his mind, that was interesting, right? That could have been a really cool third. But they didn't deliver that. They wanted to give us the spectacle. Okay, we'll have two giant guys. It didn't fit with the show.
And listen. I understand. It's really cool to have a mummy's costume wrap around him, like a nanotech. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I get it. Yeah. But wouldn't it be better if you just saw this dude shifting personalities while getting into this like Batman type suit, and he's like you hear all the voices like merging into one, so he's focused and he's going on, like stuff like that would have been awesome.
The interaction between these personalities, even that would have been cool to see, which we didn't get that much at all. And they didn't have to, but I'm saying you could have added that, would have been so much better. But again, they just can't crack that code. I don't know what's going on with them. I really don't. And take a step back. You need to take a step back. Take 2 years off. We don't need movies next year. That's fine. Give us Deadpool because you're doing it.
There's so much stuff on streaming we haven't watched yet. Let's get to that.
Give us a break. There's other movies come out. Let other films have its due. Let someone else get a little piece of the pie. You know, come on. We need more Barbies in the world apparently. So,
or you can read Danger Squad, the graphic novel,
and then make that into
more
a movie. Now we're in business.
Now we're talking.
Because Eric won't have a big bombastic third act. He's learning from all this. It's a good learning experience. A consistent, a good story-driven third act. That's what we're asking for, man.
It's about characters, guys. Exactly. It's about characters and sometimes magic words that come out of nowhere. That's what it's about.
Everybody wins, dude. We like words. It's been proven.
Like words.
That being said, we finished no more words for us today. Those are the nuggets. Take it away.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning in the show. We appreciate all the love and interest you're giving us. Don't forget to like and subscribe on the Latin Nerd Network, which you can watch shows such as Nerdsplaining and The Watch List and Thanos' Choice, and more shows coming. We promise you. Don't forget to follow us on social media at Nerdsplaining Pod on Instagram, at Nerdsplaining _ on Twitter, for as long as that is around. We might go stuff. We're going to get the threads. Get there. Trust me. If you like this show, you can go to ericdasilva.com and listen to all the original audio episodes. ERICDASILVA. While you're there, don't forget to pick up my album, Adorably Offensive. Fun time always had by all. Don't forget to check out Danger Squad. If you think that sounds like an interesting thing, go to dangersquad.com. Check out what that book is about and see if you want to get involved. That'd be really cool too. And of course, don't forget to let us know what you liked about the show, what you didn't like, what our opinions were. Maybe you're against the strike like Jose, or maybe you're pro the strike like I am. Let us know. We will talk about it next show. Your comments are always welcome, and you guys are awesome for paying attention to the show and all this kind of stuff. Once again, I have been Eric Da Silva. This has been Jose Romero. We have been Nerdsplaining. And if you don't know, now you know. Boom.